Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL predictions with Week 12. And last week I went 9-5, which is about average. And my total season record is 108-58. And this week, not a lot of good games this week. So predictions might be more cut and dry than usual. But before we get into these predictions, a reminder that the Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons, Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Jets, and the New Orleans Saints all have bye weeks. 6 teams on a bye week, which means we're not going to have a lot of games to cover this week. And we're going to start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers getting a win against the Baltimore Ravens. And if I had a nickel for every time the Steelers did not score a touchdown, yet they still won a game, I have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's very weird that it happened twice this season. It's typical Steelers BS at this point. Just embrace it. Cleveland, on the other hand, got blown out by the New Orleans Saints. It wasn't really that close. Taysom Hill basically ran all over this team. So, this Thursday night game, it is looking like Pittsburgh Steelers to lose. I am going to go ahead and take them for the win. But I will say, this will be the typical Steeler game that they'll play down to competition, pull off miraculous BS, get the win, walk out of here with the W. That's how it goes in Steelers land. And it takes us right to Sunday, in which the Minnesota Vikings will be taking on the Chicago Bears. Vikings, they look kind of back to normal, beating the Tennessee Titans, which is, again, not that hard to do, but they got it done. And the Chicago Bears, man, I know their confidence is right now is in the toilet because they did everything they could to possibly pull off a rare win over their hated rivals Green Bay Packers, yet to have the field goal block, and yet Packers will still own them. And with this game being played in Chicago, I could say the Bears could win this game, but dealing with not one but 2 heartbreaking losses this season, don't forget that Commanders game. I'm gonna have to go with the road team Vikings to win this game, but I will not be surprised if Chicago wins. I'll give them that. And next we have is the Detroit Lions taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Lions, blowing out Jacksonville, not hard to do. And with the Chiefs losing last week, they now have the clear seat as the best team in the NFL. Don't at me, don't. Yeah, they're the best team in the NFL. And the Colts come from behind win over the Jets. Anthony Richardson, he played pretty good. And with 3 total touchdowns, which included the go-ahead score, hopefully with him getting benched, he could finally turn it around. Unfortunately, he's taking on the best team in football, the Detroit Lions. And right now, this team's on a mission. I got Detroit winning pretty big. But I will say, hopefully the Colts will make this a bit interesting. Right now, it's going to be hard for me to pick against the Detroit Lions going forward. And now we have the New England Patriots taking on the Miami Dolphins in an AFC East matchup. The Patriots suffered a tough home loss to the Rams, but hey, they're competitive, which is the reason why you don't see the trash can on top of them. And the Miami Dolphins, another win. They won again, and they beat... Who did they beat? They beat the Las Vegas Raiders. And at this point, the Dolphins, their season is starting to turn around now that Tua's healthy and the offense is slowly finding its groove. And with this game being played in Miami, they already played in New England, which the Dolphins got the road win without Tua. I think Miami shouldn't have a problem winning this game. Keyword, shouldn't. And now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New York Giants. New York's coming off a bye week, but the last time we saw them, Tyrone Tracy fumbled the ball in overtime to give the Panthers a rare victory. Meanwhile, for the Buccaneers, they also had a bye week last week, but they had a bunch of injuries. Last time we saw them, they lost to the San Francisco 49ers. But hey, they're getting one of those injured players back. Mike Evans is slated to return this week after missing the last, I think, 3 games with a hamstring issue. So with him coming back in Tampa Bay, pretty much in a slump, I do think Tampa will rebound, go back to their winning ways. But not to mention, New York does have a chance because Tommy Cutlets is starting. He waxed Daniel Jones from his starting job, which I heard is all financial, by the way. But I'm still sticking with the Bucks to win, and just wait till next Thursday. It's gonna be ugly. The Cowboys are a waste of breath. Ugh. I mean, the Chiefs lost last week. Carolina's facing an angry Chiefs team. I know the Panthers have a bye coming off a bye week and off of 2 straight victories, but this one's gonna be pretty ugly. 3 bad games in a row. I mean, for this one, I'll say Tennessee. They know they're bad. Texans finally got some consistency in the running game after beating Dallas, but yikes. Yeah, this week so far is not looking like a good one. All right, something I can actually explain now. We have the Denver Broncos taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Broncos getting a huge, huge win over the Atlanta Falcons. It was not even close. And for the Raiders, losing on the road to the Dolphins. And at this point, the Raiders are just tanking out the season, trying to get a top draft pick so they can get the quarterback they want, whether it's Shador or Cam Ward. And in this game, Broncos are favored. It's gonna be hard for me to go against Denver right now because they're this season's overachievers. And hey, they're still in the thick of things in the playoffs if the season were to end. I'll say that. And then we have a grudge match with the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. 49ers suffering a tough last second loss to their division rival Seattle Seahawks. And don't look now, the 49ers are 0-3 in the division. That's a double whammy. Meanwhile, for the Green Bay Packers, they got a division win themselves over the Chicago Bears, which is their first division win of the season. And they actually should have lost that game if Cairo Santos made that kick and the Green Bay not blocked it. But we know narratives. Green Bay owns Chicago. And there's a narrative with this rivalry. And that is, while Green Bay owns Chicago and Dallas, the 49ers owns the Cowboys and Packers. 49ers have had historically good days when it comes to this team. I know this game is going to be played in Lambeau, but right now the 49ers, there is a sense of desperation with this team. They need to start getting wins or else they're going to be falling behind and not make the playoffs. So therefore, I'm going to go with the 49ers to pull off a huge road win. Green Bay, well, I think they do have a shot. I'll give them that. And speaking of the NFC West, we have an NFC West matchup with the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Cardinals coming off a bye week, but they're first place in the division somehow. And meanwhile, Seattle, a season-saving road victory over the 49ers, thanks to Geno Smith and running in for the go-ahead score with 12 seconds. So Seattle, this game, and in this game, oh boy, this one could go in any direction. I think this is going to be one of the underrated games of the week because it's going to show us who's going to likely have a chance to make the playoffs and who's pretty much going to be whose season will be in big trouble. It is the first time these two teams going to meet. They're going to meet again later on this season. But as of right now, and because I think this is a toss-up game and Seattle is at home, I'm going to have to give the slight edge to the Seahawks to win. But I can see the Cardinals definitely pulling it off. And that takes us right into Sunday Night Football, where the Philadelphia Eagles will be taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles getting back-to-back division wins. That's most recently coming off with the Washington Commanders, but do not let that score fool you because For the first 3 quarters, the Eagles were, how can I say this? Suspect at best. But it wasn't until the fourth quarter where Saquon just said, you know what, let me just take over the game. Let high-end talent bail out our incompetent head coach and Nick Sirianni. That's what basically happened. Meanwhile, for the Rams, road victory over the New England Patriots. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, both having 100-yard receiving games. That's very impressive. But unfortunately, they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, and I know this game's at home. The Eagles right now, they're hot. They're hot like fish grease. The offense is start. If the offense could get some consistency clicking, the defense is playing very well after. That goes to show you the power of their early bye week. I'm gonna roll with the Philadelphia Eagles to win, and I'm expecting a pretty strong day from AJ Brown. And you know what? Let's stay with Los Angeles for a little longer, as this is my game of the week for the week. We have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Los Angeles Chargers in the third ever Har Bowl, whereas John will be taking on his brother Jim. And for brother John's team, they did everything they could to lose that Pittsburgh Steelers game. Derrick Henry fumbling. Play calling on the offense was very questionable. There were opportunities for the Ravens to take that game, but they never took it. And once again, they get dominated by their daddies, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, they pulled off a huge win over the Cincinnati Bengals in a game that they nearly chargered. They nearly blew the game, but because the Cincinnati Bengals defense is pretty bad, they was able to get the job done. And this game's being played in Los Angeles, and I know this is the Harbaugh Bowl, but there is some other storylines that have caused me to pick this as the game of the week. Could this be J.K. Dobbins' revenge game? Could this be Gus Edwards' revenge game? Could this be Hayden Hurst's revenge game? Who knows? But like what I did with the 49ers, Jim's former team, there's a sense of desperation from the Ravens. And I think they're starting to get a little desperate for wins because right now, falling behind in the division, things are looking shaky in Baltimore land. So I'm going to pick the Ravens to win. And yeah, that concludes my Week 12 NFL predictions. A lot short video than I thought I was going to do. But anyway, tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please gamble safely. And I'll see you next time.